Are you letting your emotions get ahead of you? Real assets that are worth a lot took some time. I mean, come on, even Intel, shout out to Rue Black, point out 15 years before that thing took off. But boy, oh boy, for those that hodled on that one many, many years ago, look how that paid off. Let's jump into it, why it matters to you. But before we do so, this has the benefit of the channel, and that, of course, is the Decent wallet. Get yourself a significant discount. I'm telling you flat out, if you get 2 wallets, you save more, $99 off compared to $30 off with one. Let's play that real quick, and we'll jump right back.
If managing your crypto feels like solving a puzzle, it's time to switch to Decent Wallet. It's just a few taps. You can manage, track, and secure your crypto with unmatched ease. And here's the best part. Grab your Decent Wallet at a discounted price by using the referral link below. Don't miss out on making your crypto experience smoother and more secure.
All right, welcome back. So Smoke has some key findings, as usual, every day. Love this brother. What does he have? Well, check it out. Seeing is believing. He states the XRPL promises to be a cornerstone of the Internet of Value. How many times have you heard Jesse talk about the Internet of Value, wearable XRP, and the Internet of Trust, Quant QNT? But this is not a QNT video. Whatever the case be, it's the quotation. Ripple is not only a cryptocurrency that was the most boring part. It actually models the entire financial ecosystem. This is documented. Wow. All right. Well, what citation does he have this time? If you go to dro.dur.ac.uk, you will see this right here. And we're going to basically pull this up. As we pull it up on the screen and make it bigger for you guys, especially those watching from your phone, we see here that specifically it's from, and I've actually cited this guy. Rue Black and I have cited this guy. It's Dr. Rhea. And if anything, I am going to see if I can reach out to this guy, because this is now probably the 4th video I've cited his work. So Dr. Rhea points out that by providing interoperability, seamless circulation, and payment automation of straight-through processing, STP, the XRP ledger promises to be the cornerstone of the Internet of Value. Okay? As one important informant, I should say, who is important probably, right, put it, quote, Ripple is not only a cryptocurrency to me. That was the most boring part of it. It actually models the entire financial ecosystem. This part also is not highlighted, and it's okay. So, however, the XRP ledger is not only an interoperability layer between payment systems, it is itself a payment system with its standards, requirements, and, of course, rules. Frictionless decentralization and seamless circulation remain promises rather than realities. The logistical space is fraught with frictions, fictions, and conflicts. Ripple's research team understood this paradox when it realized that the world will never agree on one ledger. Again, back to what Jesse was talking about, even though that's not highlighted there, about one ledger. Because at the end of the day, it's a shared ledger. It's a shared, unified ledger. And a shared ledger, of course, would be that Internet of Value and, of course, the Internet of Trust. All right, this other area. The Ripple ledger changed its name to the XRP ledger to stress the importance of the XRP asset. Why are so many people saying that it's just Ripple and these banks or whoever, right, wouldn't use XRP? That right there, that should just end all the debate. But there will always be one particular Yahoo who will throw that out. Nothing against some of these Yahoos, right? God bless them. So, conversely, many of Ripple's technological solutions now rely on the interledger protocol more than the XRP ledger per se. I mean, Jesse, the writing has been literally on the wall, and it's been there apparently for a while now. People just don't realize it. Your thoughts?
So it says that to overcome certain barriers and challenges, Ripple built the interledger protocol. They built the interledger protocol, which we are seeing in the BIS documents, that is connecting the unified ledgers, right? So that's what I was saying the other day, is how can that unified ledger be quant when you're seeing the unified ledger using interledger protocol to connect to another unified ledger? Like, is there more than one quant? And why the heck would quant need interledger protocol for interoperability to interoperate with something else? I mean, it's just nonsense. Unified ledger is the XRP ledger. Quant is everything else. Okay. What was I thinking was here? Oh yeah, so it said that it was talking about XRP ledger interoperability. So the XRP ledger creates, the interledger protocol creates interoperability between payment exchange systems and payment systems, and the XRP is that global liquidity, basically, right? So and you can see it's been planned for years. I think it was like 2008 that they started working on it or something. Like it's just crazy, and it's the internet of value. It's that's why I tell people, like, this is not. It's not, like I said, this is not a massive payment network. This is an internet. This is an internet. And like, if we look at the value of the internet that we have today, the internet of information, the World Wide Web, if we try to measure its value, its utility, its utilitic value, we cannot measure it. Like, the whole world runs on this internet. There's nothing we do now, like, without using the internet. Like, even when we sleep, like most people, they wake up, first thing they do, they grab their phone, they're on the internet. Like, we're using the internet 24/7 for everything we do. And when you try to measure its utility value, they say that they can't even measure its utility value for one country, the internet of information we have today. So with the XRP ledger, this is a new internet. It's the internet of values. To move anything from one type of asset to another, it goes through the XRP ledger to be swapped from one type of asset to another type of asset. So when it does that, XRP is that token that captures the utility of this new internet, which is absolutely mind-boggling, right? And about RippleNet, I think right now a lot of the volume is happening on RippleNet, though, which is a private network. So I'm looking forward to that volume hitting the public ledger. So I'm not sure exactly how it's going, but how that's working, or like, just because I just know, like, the volume is not touching. Not all the volume is touching the public ledger right now. To me, it doesn't make sense. But what's happening is the XRP ledger that they're talking about, that document, what's happening is the central banks and the governments will not agree to one ledger. And essentially what they're saying is they will not all agree on one currency. Like, that's the problem with the US dollar, right? Like, it's as a global reserve currency, it causes all sorts of issues, because countries have to hold that global reserve currency in reserves in their country. And if the US does something stupid, or like their economy goes to crap, the US dollars that they're holding, these other countries, it loses its value. So nobody wants to hold billions and billions of dollars of a sovereign currency of another nation. And also, nobody wants to hold a whole bunch of debt. Like, also, like, when they're doing global trade, they might get these massive loans. They might have like $500 billion in loans a country has in order to do the global trade with US dollars. So they might have 500 billion US dollar loan, let's say. Well, if the US dollar gets really strong, well, their loan is now a lot harder to pay, because if their currency weakens against the US dollar, and their debt that they have is denominated in the US dollar because they had to hold that type of debt to do their global trade, this is a major problem, right? So, and you also have the Triffin's dilemma, which they've been trying to fix. So this all boils down back to the IMF. It's the special drawing rights of the IMF. Wow, where would I start there? When the Bretton Woods Agreement was signed, where the IMF was created, there was two global reserve currency that was proposed. There was the Bancor, which would have been controlled by the IMF, and there was the US dollar that was supposed to be backed by gold. The US dollar was chosen, and then there was an economist at the time, his last name was Triffin, and he warned about what we call today as the Triffin's dilemma. He said the US, it's fine for now because they're the biggest power after World War II, but it's fine for them to have the global reserve currency for now. But later on, this is going to they're going to have to run deficits in order to supply the world with money. And that's what we see. We see that later on, 30 years later, like Triffin's dilemma. They call it Triffin's dilemma because he warned about that there was going to create major imbalances and so on. So it's this new neutral bridge currency is all about fixing the global liquidity crisis and fixing the Triffin's dilemma and giving a ridiculous, stupid, ridiculous, evil amount of power to the IMF, because XRP is technically the new special drawing rights of the IMF. And it's Ripple, the company, is technically the IMF disguised as a private company. And I did a video on that. I talked to you guys. I talked about that in my last video. So yeah, it's about having a neutral bridge currency. All of the banks around the world, central banks and governments, can build their own sovereign currency around this XRP ledger on public ledgers. And when they need to settle, they can just settle through XRP. They can do their own monetary policy. They want to print money like crazy. They want to skyrocket their interest rates. They want to lower the interest rates. They can do whatever monetary policy they want in their country, because nobody is relying on another country's currency to do their settlement and to do their global trade. They can all settle with XRP when they need to, and they can get any type of asset instantly. You've got that liquidity through this new internet of value. So that was the goal, basically. But unfortunately, it's going to give a stupid amount of power to the IMF, which is terrible. It's terrible. If you research the IMF, it's terrible. And it'll probably, I think it'll take away power from the other currencies, from the other sovereign currencies. Because if everybody starts using XRP, there's less need for these other sovereign currency. I'm not saying that it wipes out the other currencies, not what I'm saying, but it's long term. It's not good. I think there's going to be good and bad, but it gives way too much power to the IMF. Way too much power. It's insane. And but yeah, that's my thoughts on that document.
And as Forrest Gump would say, that's all he's got to say about that, right? Not quite. There's a little bit more. Let's get into the last key connector, shall again, to smoke. It's going to pound home what Jesse was literally just mentioning to you guys. So as this comes up on your screen, we talked about connector, you will see a connector. Smoke has this, and I'll blow this up a little bit bigger in a moment. So Smoke states basically, he says, and people who read these documents years ago and the ones who read them today will know the answer to. The documents are right here, verbatim. Okay, verbatim what? Well, it's this. It's the whole thing of what you see, and I want to show the citation first. The citation comes from source of adapted from Gretsch and Camilleri 2017 edition, page 37 of that particular PDF. Because some of you guys obviously like to nerd it out and see some references, and I can't blame you. Okay. So, who maintains the integrity of the ledger? Remember how we talked about internet of value? Well, it's also that trust layer, ladies and gentlemen. So, trusted ledger owners or actors by validation. And Smoke circle this in the highlight. Permission publicly shared ledger, for example, a distributed ledger. For example, Ripple, a global financial transaction system. Not just like part of the world, as the gentleman said in the other video intro we did. All the money. That's another example of all the money. Your closing thoughts, Jesse.
Yeah, it's that shared ledger again, right? That's what I said. Like everything I'm saying in these documents, everything I'm saying in my videos, these documents are popping up saying the same thing. It's that shared ledger. That's why I say. Well, there's a million reasons why I say. Why I know XRP is the shared ledger, and it talks about a global payment system. Same like saying it's a global real-time gross settlement system, which we're seeing in the documents. So it's been there for years. Like I said, it's been planned for many years. If you go back to the Rising Phoenix document, the Rising Phoenix article that was on the Economist magazine in 1988, which was the year before David Schwartz was awarded the Bitcoin patent, it showed how they were proposing a new world currency that would use new technologies, and the IMF would be the best institution to manage this new global reserve currency, and it would get its adoption and liquidity by they said the words were using what's the word they said, fervent integration, something like that, like just massive integration into everything. So they were going to integrate it into everything with these new technologies, and it would be, like I said, the new global reserve currency, and the IMF was going to head it. And this is 1988, and when you take the article and you technically you ask the AI to tell you a breakdown of what it says, and you compare it with the XRP ledger right now and RippleNet, it's just like hand in glove, like it fits like a glove. And when you look at the XC platform that the IMF has, again, that is the identical to the T. I said this in another video. You take the Ask Grok 3, which I did in one of my videos. Ask Grok 3, and you ask it to compare RippleNet, XRP Ledger, and everything. Compare it to the XC platform, which the IMF has, and it'll give you 5 pages of how it's identical. 5 pages, everything how it's identical. The XRP Ledger, this. RippleNet, this. Interledger protocol, this. Like identical to the T. I'm telling you, like, like my eyes are not as identical compared to the XC platform and the RippleNet technology XRP. It's unbelievable. So it's been planned for many years, many years. And Bitcoin was just, it was so that the world, oh boy, the Bitcoin story was so that the population would accept the idea of digitization. If they told the world it's big government that's doing it and it's these massive institutions like the IMF and so on, people wouldn't have jumped on it. But if you tell them that, oh, this is, this guy, we don't know who it is. He created this technology because he wants to get away from the banking system, away from big government, away from government control. People are going to be like, yeah, everybody's going to jump on that. It's awesome, right? But unfortunately, that's not the reason. That's not the true story. And yeah, I'll leave it there for now. I'm going to go down a rabbit hole. Might offend a few Bitcoin maxis too. So it's just,
yeah. You can offend all the BTC maxis all you want. I don't look at BTC as being the real Bitcoin anyway. That's a topic for another day. But whatever the case be, thank you so much to you guys for tuning in. Do us a solid if you listen to the entire outline and type in this key word, and that is Cornerstone. And we'll know that you listened to the entire outline. On behalf of myself and Jesse, whose YouTube channel is Apex Crypto Consulting NFA. And just like you see on the bottom left of his window frame on StreamYard, that's his channel. Go give him a subscription, follow him, and so on, because some of you guys ask in the comments, at least on my channel, what's his channel. Of course, if you're seeing this on his channel, you already are on his channel. So come check me out over at Maximus Crypto. 2690 is technically mine, so at Maximus Crypto 2690. Thanks again for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.
See you guys.